Now, I'm going to flip this back around because I want to go back to the eye. Then put the catch light in. Going to get some burnt sienna, and I'm just going to kind of run it through here because that's what I see there. Paint what you see, don't question so much. Might be exactly what you need. I'm going to go back in, I'm going to restate that pupil area. It's actually a horse eye is so dark that you really don't see the pupil specifically, not unless you get real close up on it. And when you do, it's amazing. A horse eye is so big, the reflections that you can see in the eye are really very interesting. As a matter of fact, I've seen paintings where people have painted, the whole painting has been a reflection of a horse's eye, within a horse's eye. Okay, so we're going to just kind of sculpt this out a little bit. Now I'm going to go back in here. If you get the eye right, you really don't even have to worry that hard about the rest of what you're going to do, because it's the eyes are what are really going to lead people into the subject. So I'm just kind of cleaning up the edges a little bit. With this is a number 3. This is a Robert Simmons round number 3, and I'm just coming in. And the eye takes longer than anything else. And just getting all the little folds of the skin around the eye. Going to come into this, because the skull is very pronounced right in here. And it's just, you know, the eye moves all over the place. So we're just going to kind of indicate all that in these little places down here. And it's like, kind of like what would be a bag under our eyes, but doesn't appear as so with a horse. Right under here. Okay. Now I'm going to come right here to this. This is where the skull kind of comes around the eye. I paint it in and then I soften it. Paint your lines and then soften it. You want some lines to be very clear and very crisp, and some to kind of fade in. Now I'm just going to go here to my titanium white and just stick a catch light in there. Let's see. So we've got our light. Actually, the horse is the light. It's kind of backlit. So our catch light is really going to be more kind of on the bottom part. I'm just going to kind of, because there's no light shining directly in. Let's just try that and see what happens. And I'm going to go back, do a little bit more modeling around the eye. Get a little bit darker here. I would say wildlife is probably like right up there with portraiture. If you want to do something really quick, do an abstract. If you really want something that's going to be challenging and rewarding, you can paint an animal. Something that's real specific. Now I'm going to take this and I'm just going to model this a little more. Because the lighting is coming from the back, it does make it a little more challenging to actually get that catch light the way it's supposed to be, so that it will be effective with what it's supposed to do. Okay, so now let's just move on. I've got it turned right back around. Now let's just work our way back into the body of the horse. And what I'm going to do now is state the darks. So I want to state the darks first, then we're going to come in and we'll go with some middle tone, a little bit more middle tones, and then of course we'll do the lights last. And if we do the lights well, if we can save ourselves some time by not not going into where the light area is, but you do still have some modeling to do. So we'll go back up to the ear. I've got my eyes are squinted down. Now you see around the ear, you've got very short little hairs. This very soft hair on the inside of the ear. So I'm going to come in. Now normally, when I paint wildlife with watercolor, I paint on a smooth pressed paper. I paint on 140-pound smooth pressed. And that tends to, that really gives me a lot of control with the detail. This is, it's not a smooth press, but it's not as, it doesn't have as much texture as a cold press. But it works really well with watercolor because it's a very forgiving surface, actually. And everybody likes a forgiving surface with watercolor because watercolor is supposed to be the hardest medium that you could possibly paint with, according to some, but I don't know. If you think it is, it's going to be. I tend not to think in those terms. Okay, so I'm getting into a little bit larger areas, so I'm getting ready to switch over to a little bit larger brush. But right now, let me just get back into the ear thing. So what you're doing is you're just taking each area and you're just indicating where the lights and darks are. And you adjust. You make constant adjustments. That's what you do throughout the whole piece. You're always comparing. So you got a little fuzziness in the ear, and I just want the edges to show that. Now, I'm going to let that dry a little bit, then I'm going to come back in and I'm going to smooth it out. I'm also at this point going to tell you about, I like to use a little oxgall in my water because it really makes the watercolor react a little bit differently than normal. It tends to make it easier to blend and to manipulate the watercolor. Don't know exactly why. I'm not exactly sure what it comes from. Don't need to know. The name pretty much tells a lot. Okay, I'm going to go back over here to number 12. See, I'll just switch out to whatever brush I need. It doesn't matter. I don't think anybody's grading me right now. And they're not going to be grading you when you're painting either. Just enjoy the journey. Just maybe where American Journey, the name came from. I'm not sure. Okay, so I'm going back into this scatter vision mode and into the main and just painting where I see darks. The wind was blowing quite a bit, so her hair was blowing in the wind ever so nicely. Okay, a lot of dark in there. The thing is, you know, there's some areas aside from the eye area and the muzzle, the nose, you can let a lot of the colors and the changes in the paint just sort of blend themselves. Okay, so it's a black horse, but black, as you can see, black is actually the absorption of all colors. So in some instances, you know, you can see a lot of different colors in black. So this is kind of a good lesson in that. Now I'm coming up underneath the eye again. I see kind of a V shape or triangular shape right here. Of course, we're working on down the nose area. Now, once you get the darks stated, then you'll come in and you'll do all of the blending that you need to do, because you're going to have to do that. Now, here's the very soft muzzle area. A horse's nose is not going to be like a dog's nose. It's more like a platypus nose. It actually looks very very dinosaur-like in some ways. Never really thought of that until just now. So every day is a new day of learning and experience. Okay, a little lower lip. It's got the hair on it. You can't see the hair in this, but you know it's there because you know what a horse's configuration is basically like. And you can see the little hairs right here. I'll show you as we go farther along how you don't have to state every little hair. You can just make a few strokes that will kind of give an idea of what the hair is going to be like. But it's short, it's sleek. True, different species types of horses might have longer hair, but depending on what region of the world they originated in. But anyway, okay, so this is not going to be quite as modeled as the rest. Okay, we're coming up here to meet underneath the ear, and then we're just going to keep moving it on down. Just going to kind of get a mixture of all these colors I've got in there. Now we're going to go in and we've got, let's see, let's go to the top of the muzzle here. I'm just kind of daubing the paint around. There's no real method to what the stroke is, other than that the stroke is the object. But I'm just daubing the color in. Let's see, got this shape coming up here underneath the eye, about so. As the eye dries, it looks better. And then, let's see, this little indentation here. Got kind of a whole area here, but that's not quite as dark. Let me go back to my paper towel. This is going to blend really easily once I decide to do that, but it's not time to do that yet. We'll have time to work our way through the whole horse. Let's see, this is a darker area here. Ooh, and it's got kind of wrinkly little, we definitely want to have this part because like right around the mouth is lots of little wrinkles because the mouth is always moving. That's how they feel around in their world. Okay. So I would say this is where you're putting in the darks. The final darks will come back in after this is dry. Just want to kind of get that stated. All right, I'd say it looks like a horse. Is that pretty fair right now? And so we're just going to keep moving on. Let's see, get a little bit more of the ultramarine blue. The thing about mixing your blacks is that there's so many possibilities of colors that you can use. And whereas if you're going to use a black that's already mixed, you know, unless it's for pupils, noses, or the corners of the mouths, there's really no need to do that. Okay, so I'm just going to keep moving down here, and once again, just kind of, there's actually some purple in here. I'm seeing, of course, this is a digital camera. It's picking up colors and shadows that you're not really going to see necessarily with the naked eye. But it's kind of cool because you can actually put those purples in and it would work. Just don't be afraid to use a color that's maybe something that you hadn't thought of being in a particular subject before. Don't be afraid of that. Don't be afraid of any of it. And then you can tone it down. What the heck if it doesn't work? It just doesn't matter. There are other things to worry about in life. Okay, now this is a little bit darker over here, so we do kind of want to state that. I'm looking at this purple and I'm thinking, I really like purple. Purple's a good dark too. It's a very good dark. I'm just going to kind of put a little bit of that reddish color in here because we're really going to have the manes coming in.